Listen, life doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't stop because you're tired, because you're broke, because you're not ready. Nobody's gonna hold your hand. Nobody's coming to save you. Excuses are easy. Excuses are weakness. Excuses are the chains that keep you locked exactly where you are. You want progress, you want results. Then you need one thing: discipline. Not tomorrow, not later, now. So stop waiting, stop justifying, stop lying to yourself. Get up, get after it. No excuses, get it done. Excuses destroy discipline. It sounds simple, but it's the truth that cuts deeper than most people want to admit. Discipline is built on consistency, on showing up day after day, whether you feel like it or not. It is the armor that protects you from weakness, from laziness, from quitting when things get hard. But every time you give in to an excuse, you chip away at that armor, you create a crack, you open the door for failure to walk right in. Think about it. You say you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. The alarm goes off. You don't move. You tell yourself, I'll just sleep a little longer. I need rest. That one excuse feels harmless in the moment, but it isn't. It's a signal to your mind that excuses are allowed, that they are acceptable. The next time, the excuse gets easier, and soon it becomes a habit. Your discipline is gone before you even realize it. Discipline doesn't get destroyed in one big blow. It gets eroded slowly through small compromises, through tiny justifications. Skipping the workout because you're sore. Delaying the project because you're tired. Putting off the hard conversation because it's uncomfortable. All of these are excuses, and every one of them takes a piece of your discipline and throws it away. Excuses don't just stop you from doing the thing in front of you. They rewire the way you think. They teach your brain that weakness is okay. They reinforce failure. And once you start thinking that way, it spreads into every area of your life. You don't just skip the workout, you start skipping responsibilities. You don't just delay one task, you start delaying all of them. Excuses become your identity, and discipline, the very thing that could have changed everything, gets destroyed. On the other hand, when you crush excuses, when you refuse to give them power, you strengthen discipline. Every time you act in spite of the excuse, you send yourself a message. I am in control, not my feelings, not my laziness. Me. That's how discipline is built. That's how you forge the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of circumstances. But understand this clearly. Excuses will always be there. They will always whisper in your ear. They will always sound reasonable, even logical. That's what makes them so dangerous. They give you just enough justification to quit while making you believe you had no choice. That is the lie. You always have a choice. You can listen to the excuse and let it eat away at your discipline, or you can crush it and grow stronger. When you choose excuses, you're not just taking a break. You are actively training yourself to be weaker. You're building the habit of surrender. You are teaching yourself to stop before the job is done. And once that becomes the pattern, success is gone. Goals are gone. The future you wanted is gone. All because excuses destroyed the one thing that could have carried you there: discipline. Ownership over everything. That means no blaming, no pointing fingers, no shifting responsibility to someone else. It means you look at your life, your actions, your results, and you say, this is on me. When things go right, you own it. When things go wrong, you own that too. It doesn't matter if someone else dropped the ball, if circumstances weren't fair, or if you were put in a tough position. If it's in your world, it's your responsibility. That's what ownership truly is. Most people want to avoid ownership because it feels heavy. They want to pass the weight on to someone else. They say things like, I couldn't because of him, or she made me fail, or life isn't giving me a chance. That's the easy path. That's the path of excuses and weakness. But the truth is, every time you shift blame, you also shift power. You hand over control of your own life. You become a passenger instead of the driver. Ownership is about taking that control back and saying, no matter what, I will handle it. When you live with ownership, failure looks different. Instead of saying, I failed because of them, you say, I failed because of me. What can I do better next time? That shift is where growth happens. Blame stops growth. Ownership creates growth. You cannot improve something you don't take responsibility for. But the moment you claim it, the moment you take ownership, you can fix it, adjust it, and make it stronger. That is the power of ownership. Ownership doesn't just apply to big things like careers or leadership. It applies to every detail of your life. Your health, that's on you. Your relationships, on you. Your finances, your discipline, your habits. Every single one of them is your responsibility, nobody else. It doesn't matter if someone hurt you, if someone betrayed you, if life hit you hard. You still own how you respond, how you move forward, and how you rise above it. Ownership means you stop waiting for others to change and you start changing yourself. And make no mistake, ownership is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. You will make mistakes. You will fail. Ownership means when you fail, you don't run from it, you don't hide it, and you don't deny it. You face it head on. You admit it. You take the hit, and then you move forward with lessons learned. That's how strong leaders are made. That's how strong individuals are built. Ownership over everything means you have nothing to hide because you're willing to confront the truth and deal with it. Ownership also builds trust and respect. People follow leaders who own their mistakes and their actions. They lose faith in leaders who blame, who cover, who dodge responsibility. The same is true in life. Your family, your friends, your team, everyone around you will respect you more when they see that you don't shy away from ownership. It shows strength. It shows integrity. It shows that you are reliable. When you refuse ownership, you remain stuck. You stay trapped in the cycle of excuses and complaints. But when you embrace it, you gain freedom. Freedom to adapt, freedom to improve, freedom to lead your own life. Ownership over everything is not easy, but it is necessary. It is the foundation of discipline, of growth, of leadership, and of success. Without ownership, nothing else matters because nothing else can be sustained. Discomfort is the path to growth. People spend their whole lives trying to avoid it, running from it, building routines and excuses just to stay comfortable. But comfort is a trap. Comfort keeps you weak. Comfort locks you in place and convinces you that where you are is good enough. Growth doesn't happen there. Growth happens in the moments when you're stretched, when you're tested, when you're forced into places you don't want to be. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the teacher, the signal that you are pushing past limits and into something greater. Think about the gym. If you pick up a weight that's light and easy, you can lift it all day. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't challenge you, and it doesn't make you better. But the moment you pick up something heavy, something that burns, something that makes your muscles shake, that's when you grow. The stress breaks you down so you can rebuild stronger. Life works the exact same way. The struggles, the failures, the long nights, the things that scare you, those are the heavyweights. And if you're willing to step into that discomfort, you will grow from it. Discomfort exposes the truth about who you are. When everything is easy, you don't know your limits, you don't know your strength, and you don't know your resilience. It's only when you're under pressure, when you're tired, when you're hurting, when you want to quit, that's when the real you shows up. That's when you find out what you're made of. And that's where growth begins. Most people avoid discomfort because it doesn't feel good. It's painful, it's awkward, it's unfamiliar. But that's exactly why it works. Every time you face discomfort, you expand your threshold. You become capable of enduring more. You become comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how growth compounds. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once scared you becomes routine. And then new challenges take their place, pushing you even further. The cycle never stops. The more discomfort you embrace, the stronger and more resilient you become. Discomfort also strips away entitlement. It humbles you. It reminds you that progress is earned, not given. You don't get stronger by wishing for it. You don't become disciplined by thinking about it. You earn those traits in the trenches when things hurt, when you're exhausted, when the easy way out is right there, but you don't take it. That struggle, that discomfort, that fight, that's what builds character. That's what builds toughness. That's what builds growth. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness. None of them got there by staying comfortable. Athletes push through grueling practices. Soldiers endure brutal training. Entrepreneurs suffer sleepless nights, constant rejection, and endless setbacks. Every story of success is a story of discomfort, because the ones who win are the ones who choose to embrace the hard path, the ones who use discomfort as fuel instead of running from it. Discomfort is also the gateway to discipline. When you choose to do what you don't want to do, when you choose to take the harder road, you train your mind to obey your will instead of your feelings. You stop being controlled by comfort and you start being controlled by commitment. And that mental toughness, that discipline, is the foundation of growth in every area of life. If you find yourself too comfortable, too safe, too content, that should be a warning sign. It means you're not pushing hard enough. It means you're not stretching your limits. It means you're stuck. Growth only happens when you demand more of yourself than what feels easy, when you lean into the struggle, when you walk straight into discomfort and refuse to back down. Consistency beats motivation. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes. Some days you feel it, most days you don't. It's like a spark, it burns bright for a moment and then fades. People who rely on motivation are inconsistent because the second it disappears, they stop. They wait around for the next burst of inspiration, the next wave of energy, the next reason to act. And while they wait, time slips away, opportunities vanish, and progress stalls. That's why motivation cannot be trusted. What matters, what lasts, is consistency. Consistency is about showing up whether you feel like it or not. It's the daily repetition, the unglamorous grind, the small actions repeated over and over until they stack up into results. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who quit. The ones who succeed don't rely on feelings, they rely on habits. They rely on discipline. They rely on consistency because they know the truth. Feelings are unreliable, but actions repeated with discipline build unshakable momentum. Think of a soldier. A soldier doesn't wake up every day motivated to train, to carry heavy gear, to march for miles, to face brutal conditions, but they do it anyway because the mission demands it. Discipline demands it. Consistency demands it. Motivation has nothing to do with it. The mission gets done because of relentless repetition, because of commitment to the process, no matter how it feels. That's what builds strength, that's what builds reliability, that's what builds mastery. In fitness, motivation might get you into the gym for the first week, but consistency is what transforms your body over months and years. In business, motivation might get you started on an idea, but consistency is what builds it into something real, something lasting. In life, motivation might push you through a moment, but consistency is what shapes who you are day after day, year after year. Consistency is also a test of character. Anyone can work hard when they feel good, when conditions are perfect, when energy is high. But consistency asks, what will you do when it's raining? When you're tired, when you're discouraged, when no one is watching? That's the real test. That's when most people give up, but that's when the discipline keep going. That's when consistency beats motivation. The compound effect of consistency is unstoppable. Small, disciplined actions performed over time build results that motivation alone can never touch. One workout doesn't change your body, but 1,000 consistent workouts do. One day of studying doesn't make you an expert, but years of steady effort do. One act of discipline doesn't transform your life, but living with consistency every single day does. The results may be invisible at first, but they are building silently, and eventually they become undeniable. Consistency is also freedom. When you live by consistency, you no longer depend on emotion to drive you. You no longer need to wait for motivation. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel inspired. You just do the work because that's who you are. That's the power of consistency. It eliminates hesitation. It eliminates excuses. It eliminates the endless cycle of waiting for the right time. The right time is every time, and consistency makes sure you show up. Motivation might start the fire, but consistency keeps it burning. Motivation might give you a push, but consistency carries you to the finish line. Motivation is a feeling. Consistency is a choice, repeated daily until it becomes a way of life. Action over talk. Talking is easy. Anyone can say what they're going to do. Anyone can make promises, set goals, announce big plans, and tell the world how motivated they are. Words are cheap. They don't cost anything, they don't take effort, and they don't produce results. Action is what matters. Action is the execution, the discipline, the proof that you mean what you say. Without action, talk is nothing but noise. People talk about wanting to get in shape. They talk about starting a business. They talk about writing a book, building a future, changing their lives. But the talking never stops, and the action never starts. They trick themselves into thinking that talking about it is progress. That planning is the same as doing. But it isn't. You can talk about your goals every day for years, and nothing will change until you act. Action over talk means you stop telling people what you're going to do and you show them instead. You let your work speak louder than your mouth. You put in the hours, you put in the effort, you put in the sacrifice. While others are busy talking, you're busy moving. And when the results show up, when progress is undeniable, you won't have to say a word. The proof will already be there. Action is hard. It requires discipline, risk, and effort. That's why most people choose talk instead. Talking feels good. Talking gives you a sense of achievement without actually earning anything. You get the dopamine, the praise, the temporary satisfaction, but none of the results. That's the trap. Action, on the other hand, doesn't feel good in the moment. It's hard work, it's sweat, it's failure, it's repetition. But it delivers, it builds, it creates real outcomes, not just illusions. In any area of life, action is the separator. Leaders aren't the ones who talk about leadership. They are the ones who step up and lead when it matters. Athletes aren't the ones who talk about training. They are the ones who grind when nobody is watching. Warriors aren't the ones who talk about courage. They are the ones who run toward the fight while others freeze. Words don't define you. Your actions do. Action also builds credibility. When you act, people notice. They respect consistency, effort, and results far more than empty words. Talkers lose trust because they don't follow through. Doors gain respect because they deliver. Over time, people stop listening to those who only talk, but they pay attention to those who act because action proves commitment. Action over talk also creates momentum. Once you start, even with small steps, you build energy. Each action fuels the next. Talk doesn't build momentum, it only delays it. You can spend weeks, months, or years talking about what you'll do, but the moment you take action, the moment you take that first step, you set something in motion that talk alone can never achieve. Action demands accountability. When you act, you can't hide. You either succeed or you fail. But both are better than standing still. Success proves you're on the right path. Failure teaches you what to fix. Talk gives you neither. Talk keeps you safe, keeps you untested, keeps you stuck in theory. Action gives you reality, and reality is where growth happens. The choice is always there. You can keep talking, keep waiting, keep pretending, or you can take action right now with what you have and start building. The world doesn't need more words. It needs more people willing to step up, to move, to execute. Mission first, always. That is the mindset of a warrior, the mindset of a leader, the mindset of anyone who is serious about achieving what they set out to do. The mission is the goal, the purpose, the target. It is the reason you wake up early, the reason you push through exhaustion, the reason you sacrifice comfort. When you put the mission first, everything else falls into place. Distractions lose their power, excuses lose their grip, and priorities become clear. The mission becomes the compass that directs every decision, every action, every step. Most people fail because they lose sight of the mission. They get distracted by comfort, by fear, by short-term pleasures. They let emotions dictate their choices instead of the mission. They start strong, but when things get tough, they shift their focus to how they feel instead of why they started. That is the difference between those who achieve and those who quit. The ones who achieve keep their eyes on the mission no matter how hard it gets. They put it above their own feelings, above their own doubts, above their own comfort. Mission first means discipline. It means when you don't feel like working, you still work because the mission demands it. It means when you are tired, when you are frustrated, when everything seems stacked against you, you still move forward. Because the mission doesn't care about your feelings. The mission only cares about results. If you put feelings first, you will lose. If you put excuses first, you will lose. But if you put the mission first, you find a way to win. Mission first also means sacrifice. You can't have it all. You can't chase every distraction, every pleasure, every comfort, and still expect to complete the mission. Something has to be given up. Time with comfort, time with laziness, time with excuses, it all gets cut out. You sacrifice what doesn't serve the mission so you can give everything to what does. That's how progress is made. That's how greatness is achieved. When the mission is first, obstacles become fuel. Failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Pain isn't something to avoid, it's part of the process. Discomfort isn't a punishment, it's a signal that you are on the right path. When the mission comes first, every setback is just another step forward. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove how committed you really are. People who don't put the mission first see obstacles as reasons to quit. People who do see them as chances to grow stronger. Mission first demands clarity. You need to know exactly what the mission is. Vague goals create vague effort. Clear missions create focused action. When you know the mission, you know the path. And even if the path shifts, even if plans fail, the mission stays the same. You adapt, you adjust, you maneuver, but the target doesn't change. That's why the mission must always come before pride, before ego, before excuses. Ego gets wounded and wants to quit. Pride gets offended and wants to blame. Excuses want to delay and distract. But the mission doesn't care. The mission demands completion. And when you put the mission first, you lead by example. People around you see that you are relentless, that you are unwavering, that you are locked in on the goal. That kind of commitment inspires. It builds trust. It creates momentum that pulls others with you. A team that sees the mission come first in their leader will follow, will sacrifice, will push harder because they know the standard has been set. Mission first becomes not just a mindset, but a culture.